Hello everyone, welcome to another shitstorm on my shitposting channel. I know I've been focusing on Bernie Sanders' dank meme stash, but it's just hilarious the shit that goes on here, and I just can't help myself. I mean, if I see something like this, I gotta report it, because first of all, it's gonna get deleted eventually, so I do wanna back it up, because I do take part in these conversations, and I just wanna do them justice, because if it's get deleted, the whole thing has been in vain. So my videos are there for anyone who wants to watch them. I don't believe anyone does want to watch them, because usually they're over an hour long, but I mean, what the hell, right? I mean, someday somebody's gotta have gotta, I don't know. It's just somebody's gotta find something useful in them. I don't know. It's just I know these things have been done and to death, but I mean, as long as these people keep just not understanding the issue, we just have to press on. There's nothing else you can do. So here we got another meme. As usual, Bernie or Hillary, and this time it's about safe spaces. And look at this. This is just beautiful. Safe spaces. These kids need to grow the hell up. And obviously Hillary, my college voters deserve them. So, and it's not even that, but it's not even that bad what he's saying. And I've been watching some videos of Bernie Sanders. I've been trying to kind of get Sanders' own actual opinion on the issue, and it's hard to pinpoint him in that respect, because he does talk about minorities and gay people and women's rights and abortion and whatever. But that doesn't mean that he needs to put up with jackasses like from the Black Lives Matter movement, like those two bitches that interrupted his speech in order to fucking I don't know. So we got a whole bunch of reactions here. The first one is already gold, like bully-proof windows, troll-safe doors. This is amazing. I mean, the guy. All right. Then we have the following. That is not what Bernie would say. He'd be like, I totally respect the rights of marginalized groups to self-determine the needs of their demographic, including so-called safe spaces. Okay, put some words in his mouth, why don't you, Alex Grogan, no. If you don't believe in freedom of speech for those you most despise, you don't believe in it at all. Beautiful. Let's segregate people again. This is called regressive liberalism. Wait, I think you're referring to college campus coddling students in class and online by trying to police what they may hear others say, safe spaces, and I'm referring what others say. Safe spaces, and I'm referring to the original concept of a safe space, i.e. for women or people of color or LGBT, etc. Two different things. How are these different? What is the difference? Wait, if you're referring to college campus coddling students in class and online by trying to police what they may hear and others say, safe spaces, how are these different things? Because those students you're coddling, they're all like women and people of color and LGBT, etc. And you're trying to protect them from things they might hear or people might say. So I don't get what kind of doublethink is this? Where off topic, Kevin, but actually so-called multiculturalism and color blindness actually serve to reinforce power systems already in place. This has been thoroughly researched. How? The whole point has been to I don't even have the words for this. The whole point has been to just to make people equal, you know, to the whole point of color blindness, which isn't color blindness, it's actually just, you know, people are equal. And yes, you are going to take into account cultural differences and all that stuff. And maybe you will try to be more sensitive to people of minorities or whatever, you know, who have a different experience than you may have, whatever. But, you know, not making a distinction based on race is supposed to be a good thing, right? I don't know what kind of society you live in. I really don't. Ooh, I'm oppressed. I'm scared of ideas. If you talk, you're oppressing me. Yeah, I was talking about college campus stuff. I'm sorry, but if you believe there should be segregated parts of a college campus, then you are delusional. Yeah, I totally don't believe that. What the heck? Who believes that? Maybe Trump, lol. Well, at least that, Jesus fucking Christ. People who advocate safe spaces have also pushed for white students to not be allowed in some too. Regressive liberalism. I'm sure that's the extreme. But honestly, a college campus is about exchanging ideas and learning. This includes learning about bigotry. Exactly. Censorship of any kind should be heavily discouraged in a place of learning. Exactly. You guys are letting the media rule over your idea of what a safe spaces actually look like on campus. So, what do they look like? Explain it to me, dude. I don't think so. I'm referring to censorship. I'm referring to old school safe spaces like BSU, etc. I'm not referring to censorship. BSU. What is BSU? Let's just Google that because I have no idea what he's talking about. BSU. Something with bullshit? Bullshit university? I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. BSU. Simply does it. No, wait. That's Dutch. Current students. Ball State University. Munchie. Okay, so it is a university. Okay, I don't know what that means. Safe space means space free from soft-spoken, level-headed criticism of special interest groups' ideals. Wow, that's a different definition of safe space. Now we're talking. Safe space means space free from soft-spoken, level-headed criticism of special interest groups' ideals. When BLM says only black people are victims of injustice, and they shut down a Chinese girl for saying she's also a victim of racism, that's their right in a safe space. Perfect. You know, I will tell you a real definition of what a real safe space is, you know. In Greece, by law, I'm half Greek, just so you know, police is officially not allowed to enter a college campus. And that stems from a time where we had fascism there, and people were not allowed to express their opinion. You know, if they had a radio station or a magazine or whatever, they got shut down and they were put in jail and that kind of stuff. That is a safe space. If you are free, you know, from the government to exchange ideas, that I can respect. But segregation is not. So, okay, those safe spaces are completely fucking dumb. You're an adult, life sucks, get over it. Thank you. It would probably be the other way around. Like, not a bad thing, but yeah, it would most likely be switched. No, it wouldn't. Because words do hurt. Oh, sure they do. Not words, it's for women and people of the LGBT community, so they don't get physically harassed. Oh, sure. You know, as long as they're on the safe space, because once they leave, you know, they're immediately liable to get raped or whatever. Edgy. Safe spaces really help with PTSD victims, and since Bernie is huge for vet benefits, I'd also think of this as the other way around. How is this in any way similar to war veterans? And I know people keep throwing around the PTSD thing, you know, but you don't get post-traumatic disorder from bad words. I mean, sorry. I mean, if you do, then your safe space should probably be an insane asylum. Just saying. Alright. Nice. Extremely undank. Bernie has more respect for people's mental health and is much more sensitive to the needs of all. I disagree. If we really need safe spaces, we should try to make our civilization a safe space. I find this too vague to form an opinion on it. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, maybe, but maybe... I mean, yes, we should be more tolerant of each other and more, you know, more understanding, have more empathy and all that stuff. No, yeah, okay. In broad terms, I agree with you. I don't really get... Because you're still gonna have to deal with danger, and that's the whole point we need to talk about. I mean, well, whatever. He may not be saying it, but he's thinking it. And that's, you know, that's my point. I mean, if you look at Bernie Sanders, at the footage, where those two Black Lives Matter bitches harassed him, you know, he may have succumbed, or he may have allowed them to take the stage because he didn't want to be harassed by the mob of black people around him, because it wasn't just those two, obviously. But that doesn't mean he agreed with them. He did so, you know, you have to look at his face, you know, he wasn't happy that day. He was harassed. He was the one being harassed, you know, and he's a Jew. He knows everything about being harassed. He probably knows, well, you know, I mean, if you hear his accent, you know, it's almost impossible to imagine that he wasn't bullied at school. But whatever. Remember when white people run everything? What? Remember when white people had safe spaces? Remember when white people had safe spaces? This again, just too vague. I don't understand what he's trying to say. Still do. White people run everything. Sure they do. Of course, nobody should be... Oh, sorry. Many white people are aware of this. This doesn't mean you censor a place of learning, lol. It's like people forget that white people are also very much involved in the push for equality, even if we get shit on. Sorry. He's exactly right. I mean, white people invented liberalism, let's be honest. Feminism started in white countries, started in the West. It's all Western philosophy, it's all Western ideology. But not that that matters. Of course, nobody should be censored at all, white or not. And it sucks that many people censor those who are white. But a lot of those people are those annoyed with the inequality that is actually automatically given, while forgetting it is not your fault you are white. It is nobody's fault for the color of their skin. Power, not inequality. Power is given to those who are white. Sorry, was typing fast. This is bullshit. Power isn't given to those who are white. Power is it's not given at all. Power is taken by those who have the ability to take it. I know that sounds very ableist for you, probably. But that's what power is, bitch. Real power. And, you know, in Western society, since white people are the majority, white people usually are the ones who are able to, how do you say, to um, to achieve that position, to to get power, to be in power. I mean, it you have to you have to put some effort into it. You have to invest in it. And if your life if your survival depends on making money and having power, then you're going to do what you can to get where you need to go. It doesn't take, it's not rocket science. I mean, you are so right. Just keep in mind, we are all actively fighting against a system that benefits us, to bring equality and move forward. I believe that should count for something. And everyone's opinion should be valid. I disagree with you, but you are right. White people are the ones fighting a system that, at least in their understanding, benefits them. Personally, I don't think it benefits us as white people, but it benefits those in power. But that's a different story, because and that's there we get at another topic, because you do have class differences. You do have people who are born into wealth and who are going to stay that way. But that has nothing to do with the color of their skin, because you have just as many. Well, okay, you don't have just as many, but you still do have black people who are born into wealth. You also have Hispanics who have the same thing. You also have Asians and whatever. You have people of all kinds of demographics who are born into power. But that's a different issue. Privilege exists, but not in the way you think. You can't just accuse random people of being privileged if they're living in the slums and they're wallowing in debt. Very true, but how do people expect to move forward and have this positive change if people are going to degrade one another for things others have no control over? It is extremely sad the amount of shit people of different races, nationalities, etc. go through. Everyone struggles over this to a degree, and many do not see that as a problem. I have friends, and most of which are white, and I have seen a fair share of hate towards them for being white, and they have seen a fair share of hate towards me for being black. It is not right for any group of people to deal with that type of bullshit. Agreed. But it's not just that they receive. How many? Most of which are white. Okay, no. Let's just continue. You obviously have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Who? You sure contributed to this, huh? I mean, what? How doesn't he have no idea? I mean, he was perfectly reasonable. I still disagree with him because he speaks from a leftist point of view, which I don't really care for. Or not leftist, yeah, whatever. I agree with him with his arguments. I know what he's talking about, and he's right. White people have been the ones fighting for equal rights for everybody. White people are the ones who abolished slavery in the end. I mean, yes, they may have benefited from it for a time, and again, that's not all white people, Even in those times, those were rich people who had slaves, who, you have to be able to afford a cotton plantation in the first place in order to own slaves, And sure, maybe others may have been jumping on the bandwagon and calling people niggers and whatever. But that's beside the point. That doesn't mean they were privileged or anything. That just means they were stupid, But that also doesn't mean that all their fucking descendants have to suffer for it. But whatever. It's for girls who are scared of being raped and people who suffer from racism and physical abuse on a daily basis? Question mark? You must not go to college. You know, because most men believe rape is okay? Scared of being raped? Does that mean men aren't allowed? People who suffer from racism? Does that mean white people aren't allowed? See where I'm going with this? But yeah, exactly. No, it shouldn't be a question. Yes, white people aren't allowed. Men aren't allowed in there. Except if they're black, maybe. But I don't get that either. So if you follow intersectionalism, should you have like safe spaces for women, and safe spaces for black people, or should it maybe be like safe spaces for white women and a separate safe space for black women? Maybe, because obviously white women still oppress black women, and maybe then you also need a safe space for black men, because otherwise they're gonna start raping black women, or maybe even white women. But no, we're not that racist, But obviously white men won't get a safe space because they're the most privileged of all. So, get where I'm going with this. I mean, it's like a fractal thing. It could go in. It's a reductio ad absurdum, definitely. It could go into infinity, and just. I mean, where does it end? Are you retarded? Most men don't believe rape is okay. Laugh my ass off. No, who the fuck said whites aren't allowed? Really, you need to do some research. Globally, that's a different story, but in Western society, most men definitely do not believe rape is valid, lol. Wait. So, wait, who the fuck said whites aren't allowed? What else is Black Lives Matter arguing for? What else are all these protesters arguing for? I just don't get it. If they aren't protesting, whatever. Let's continue. No, you make a claim, the burden of proof is on you. Okay, good point. It happens all the time. Here at SIU, most of these kids are drunk off their asses and don't realize what they are doing. Alright, it happens in every university, people get drunk. And it's, you sound like Trump. Show me polls where the majority of men think rape is okay. Show me the numbers, not your opinion. I'm not saying there is not a problem with rape, but to say the majority of men support it is a lie. And honestly, an insult to half of the US population. I'm not saying all men. Obviously, he didn't say you said all men. I didn't accuse you of saying all. I used the word majority, which can be synonymous with your word most. I know it's edgy and cool on your campus to hate men, but at least bring some numbers to the table, lol. No one hates men, we hate rapists. We all do. You just said most men support rape. By that logic, we hate most men. See where I'm going? But by your thought logic, most men you meet are immediately rapists. This is dangerous thinking. When the fuck did I say any of that? Most men believe rape is okay. You said that 24 minutes ago. Please use critical thinking instead of emotion when posting. Okay, and let's just look at that. Oh fuck, did they delete it already? Fuck, I hope not. I should go back before the post gets deleted. Why did I do that? I mean, this is not very smart. Fucking Christ. Okay. 14 replies, we already had those. It was the one with the 51 replies, yeah. Alright, sorry about that, folks. Most men, at least, think rape is okay. The colleges take an anonymous survey for male students, and I think it was one out of 3 of them who said it was okay. That's not most. is still. I mean, I still don't believe a word of it, but whatever. Uh, well, here, let me correct myself. There, show me the survey. 1. 1 out of 3 is not most, exactly. 2. The study you're referring to was extremely small sample size, like less than 100 people. Still alarming that those people think it's okay, but that's not most and is definitely not a big enough sample to use in a legitimate argument. You know, before we continue, I'm gonna pause to just unwrap all the discussions before it gets deleted, because otherwise I can. Alright, I think that's all. So, let's continue. Um, so, have you considered that maybe they're just trolling you? You know, the sample size is so small, they might just be, they might simply be offended that you even ask the question, and they may just say yes, I think it's okay, just to fucking piss you off. Have you ever thought of that? Also, I want to know how the question was framed. Well, I guess you're right there. Um, I forget exactly, but it was something about if you could force a woman into having sex and not get caught. Then they straight up asked if they would rape someone if they wouldn't get caught, and like 15% of them still said yes. You know, unless they were being edgy and ironic, I don't believe a fucking word of this. 15%. I don't remember all of it, but I'm sure it would be easy to find on Google. Well, uh, I guess too that it. Well, I guess too that is in a different state than mine, and the numbers are all different everywhere you go. But I know at least Southern Illinois used to still have a problem with it. You know, whatever. Saying most men agree to rape compared to Southern Illinois is two different things. I could guarantee that most men on here, or generally a lot of men, including me, just on this page, would not agree with this. Yes, at least that. Thank you very much. Of course, rape is a problem everywhere, a very serious one that needs to be addressed, but making blanket statements like most men think rape is okay is not going to help. Stuff like that just alienates people that would otherwise be on your side. Now I'm still not exactly sure what a safe space is, but from what I can gather, it doesn't seem like a terrible concept. A place to go where nobody will be an asshole sounds like kind of nice. Sounds kind of nice, actually. But if you start discriminating about who can and can't go in there, you're gonna have a bad time. But like I said, I really don't know much about it. Is it open at night after bar close? If it's not, then I doubt it's a very good place for women to go to avoid being raped. Reasonable enough. I'm just waiting for someone from Portland to come and tell us we're mansplaining. But I never said men couldn't go in. Maybe you didn't, but if you say it's for girls who are afraid to get raped, then you better bet your sweet little ass that men are going to be excluded from it. And I'm not saying that men should have access to everything women have access to, like women's bathrooms, which I'm gonna come back to later. But it's not like these kinds of spaces don't already exist. It's not like, for example, like women don't have their, female students don't have like, I don't know, I guess it depends on the campus, but you probably got like female campuses or whatever. I don't know, I don't know if you wanna, well, probably not actually, but yeah, whatever, fuck it. But let's not exaggerate. I mean, discriminating, damn it, I can't believe I made that mistake. Also, I'm from Portland. We got a problem? No, not, obviously not. Haha. Not, I've just seen, no, I've just seen some crazy comments coming out of there. Someone Someone said that, just browsed over this thread and starting to think it was someone in a different one. My B. I haven't encountered many SJWs. None of my friends are SJWs. Then again, I have a big beard. Profile picture isn't me, and I'm typically wearing some metal band t-shirts, so maybe those people just avoid me. Yeah, there's a good chance of that. Alright, what else? Typically, man, my grammar game is weak today. Haha, SJWs make it hard to be liberal. I share a party with these people. Poor guy. For real though, it's racist. It's not racist if someone hates all white people. It's prejudiced. Like, dude, racism is a type of prejudice that deals specifically with race. How hard is it not to understand that? Fucking thank you. Nope, not dank. Into the basement forever you go. I was like so edgy to tell her the basement is the dankest place you could send him. You're only furthering his calls, lol. She actually found it funny, so I'm actually glad. Lol, guys, get it? Since SJWs exist, we shouldn't provide safe spaces to people who actually need them. Lol, SJWs, am I right, folks? Please leave the epic upvotes to the left. Social justice is a good thing. SJW being used as an insult is a neckbeard meme that deserves to die. A post above is 110% sarcasm. I already knew that, but she apparently didn't. I like the term SJW though. It describes a certain type of bandwagon jumping selectivist very well. Sounds about right. I mean, I find it so funny how he does understand that you have such a thing as selectivists or whatever, but he doesn't understand how this whole topic is just a form of doublethink, and how he doesn't understand that he is actually himself doing the fucking doublethink. You know, just because SJWs are bad doesn't mean you shouldn't give people safe spaces. How can you come to that conclusion? Safe space is a SJW catchphrase used to segregate people. You know, one implies the other. But whatever, what do I know? I used back like 2.5 years ago when I thought it exclusively referred to trans-hating and sex-negative radical feminists and other kin, and then I watched it slowly morph into a catch-all insult for anyone who is more left than me. Again, I point out it's actually about people who blow their leftist ideals up to authoritarian proportions. I think that's a very good, summary, don't you think? The fuck is a safe space? This guy is just... This is one of my favorite discussions here, because I just so fucking... There's a kind of lack of definition, but it's basically a small space most colleges have, where they're free to kick people out for basically being racist or assholes or whatever. They are often used by people who arguably aren't part of an oppressed group, so neckbeards freak out that they exist at all. Yes. Yeah, kinda like a concentration camp, only you enter willingly and you segregate yourself from others willingly. So again, with the doublethink. Sometimes bad people support the existence of this thing, therefore the entire thing is bad. You know, it's not that sometimes, but I will come to this. So, say I'm bullied in my microeconomic class. I go to safe space and not learn fuck all, or they send the bullies there. Do they have juice boxes? Fucking brilliant. A well-run safe space wouldn't ask you why you're there. To be honest, I'm sure a lot of Fedora Lord backlash comes from a somewhat valid place, since in practice there's nothing stopping some obnoxious SJW from running the show. So how does the one not exclude the other? A well-run safe space wouldn't ask you why you were there. I mean, I find this it's just mind-boggling. I don't get how, you know, especially if you're not going to ask why people are there. So, okay, so here comes my rebuttal, you know. Obnoxious SJWs aside, if, as you say, a well-run safe space wouldn't even ask you why you're there, wouldn't that enable any and all kinds of shitlords to exploit it in order not to have to do anything for their studies? Wouldn't we be hampering progress otherwise? Shit. Um, uh, I wanted to add, actually I had added before I posted it, but apparently I deleted that. I wanted to say, shouldn't there be a failsafe for that? Wouldn't we be hampering progress otherwise? But sorry, I apparently didn't notice that. I'm just too tired to type. But this is my point, you know. If you're not gonna ask people why they want to make use of a safe space, you know, assuming that safe space is what you say it is, that, you know, it's a place where you can hide from all your problems, you know. Wouldn't that enable you, you know, exploit? Okay, let's just continue. Exploit it how? By sitting there? You could be the worst person on earth, but they wouldn't know until you started causing trouble. Well, that's all well and good, but you're not just sitting there. You're sitting there because you want to avoid difficulties. If nobody asks you why you're there, you might as well go there in order to avoid attending classes. For all they know, your economics professor may be harassing you. And as far as we've seen so far, safe spaces or demand thereof have created more problems than they have solved, with what with people refusing to take exams because they want to protest on the same day, or obstructing other people's studies by protesting in the library and that kind of stuff. Dude, it's college, literally no one cares if you're cutting class. There's absolutely no authority trying to further your attendance or learning. Lol, what? I don't know what college you attend or have attended, but where I studied, if you were to skip more than 2 classes, you could fail the course. Maybe 3. Seriously, if nobody cares if you pass a course, then I can imagine why people get worked up about safe spaces. What the fuck? Maybe students in America get coddled too much to begin with. You fail the course and the college gets its money. Yes, you'd fail if Joey never went to class, but it's irrelevant to them whether you pass or not. Yes, maybe to them, but it's not irrelevant to you. It's not a high school. There aren't hall monitors trying to get you back to class. Yes, I get that. But that's beside the point, isn't it? It's in your best interest as a student to pass if you want to get anywhere in life, especially since college isn't free as of yet. It is in your best interest as an individual to pass college. Yes, very good. How does the existence of a safe space affect that for you as an individual? How does the existence of a safe space affect that for you as an individual? It wouldn't, since I'm white and male, so I'm probably excluded from them anyway. But from what we've discussed so far, I don't see how it can be anything other than a distraction. And let's be honest, we already got fraternities for that. For all I care, you could make a new club for your own kind of special snowflake. But if you're cutting classes, you shouldn't be complaining about the white man not allowing you to graduate or blaming him for ending up in debt. College isn't free just yet. So safe spaces need to be abolished because the people associated with them are annoying. Seems legit. And he posted a Wikipedia article about association fallacy. I don't know what that is. Safe spaces need to be abolished because people associated with them are annoying. Seems legit. You know, in the meantime, there was this whole other discussion which I want to... So we'll come back to that, but he had this whole other discussion where he kind of defined what a safe space is. Let's see if I can find it, because I have literally never heard of anyone using safe spaces as a legit thing. I'm reading this now because I borrowed a point from here. All right. I have literally never heard of anyone using safe spaces as a legit thing. I feel like the internet has made it up. Like when people were upset about Starbucks Christmas cups. Pretty sure it's a conspiracy. You mean a conspiracy theory, right? We have one here at University of Windsor, admittedly Canada, and it's just a little room with the word safe space on the door. There isn't a shitload of racial or anti-LGBT tension around here, so I've never seen a big stink made about it from either side. Most people probably don't even notice it. See, I even liked his comment, because he actually explains what a safe space is, at least on his university. So here we go. But is it like a recent thing generated from the internet? That's pretty cool though. Probably the best for napping, lol. But like the stereotypical emo kid who rainbow hair and cat needing a safe place. Like where are those people? Probably playing League of Legends, so I think they're good. Yeah, I agree exactly. So yeah, that's where I borrowed the point from this room, and from the napping a napping room or a playing room. It's actually safe area for students who deal with everyday harassment from other people because of their race, sexual orientation, or just safe place to be at night if you need to wait for a taxi or if you don't want to walk home at night. Pretty bad in southern Illinois. Just had a shooting happen across the street and heard a lot of people being held up at gunpoint. It never generated from the internet. I'm not sure where you're getting that from. It's probably because I've never seen that before. I've only heard about it as a sarcastic joke on the internet. Thanks for clearing that up. Alright, back to where we were. Some syllogistic examples of guilt by association. John is a con artist. John has black hair. Therefore, all people with black hair are con artists. Holy shit, dude. Wow. This is amazing. And so, tell me, where exactly did I make an association fallacy? Because I really don't get how John having black hair and all people with black hair being con artists has anything to do with what I said. All I said is that if you interpret safe spaces as a place where you can go to segregate yourself, where you don't have to listen to people criticizing you or bullying, Alright, I get the thing about bullying, bullying isn't nice, bullies are assholes. But you gotta also learn to stand up for yourself, don't you? I mean, I don't know, Hitler conspired to murder millions of people. Hitler was a vegetarian and owned a dog. Blondie, therefore, a dog-owning vegetarians will conspire to commit mass murder. Jane is good at mathematics. Jane is dyslexic. Therefore, dyslexic people are good at mathematics. Simon, Carl, Jared, and Brett are all friends of Josh, and they are all petty criminals. Jill is a friend of Josh. Therefore, Jill is a Seriously, what kind of infantile kind of... What does this have to do with anything I said? I was told this was a safe space. Alright, here comes my reply. Fuck man, I studied philosophy. I know what association fallacies are. But this is a different issue. If it's just a playroom for naps or whatever, then I don't see a reason for them to not exist. But then I also don't get why people should be get excluded based on their gender or race. I also don't see why it should be such a heavily politicized subject, which practically gives students permission to act like assholes and skip classes. If you want a safe space, then go cry in the toilet for fuck's sake. You can lock the door there, right? And so far, this has been almost an hour ago, didn't get a reply to this, so I think I'm right about this. Okay, so then you get this troll, Zach Moore. Social justice ole. Shot of regresso with that. Dank uplifts stank. Well, stanks. Seriously, guy, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't even know why I liked your comment, because I thought, in the beginning I thought he was kind of, just pissing them off or something. But turns out if you look at the rest of his posts, he's actually far worse. But okay, let's see. Not dank. We've been over this. You don't know what dank is. You know, you're probably gonna ban him to the basement as well, or to the attic, you know, which are both dank places. You have no idea what it means. Laugh my ass off. You can tell who needs a safe space in this thread. Yes, literally. Amazing, isn't it? It's hilarious. In other words, Bernie doesn't like little bitches. Yes. Well said. Let's play a game called How Many Comment Wars Can We Start on BSDMS in One Day? Here you get this guy again. Well, some of them are paid to do it. Lol, sure they are. Fuck, if I got paid for this, I could be part of the 1% by now. Fucking hell. The thing about undank memes is they go away. You know, you have no idea what dank is. It's exactly the dank memes that go away and that end up in the other group I joined lately, which is called Uncensored Dank Bernie Sanders Memes. Everything that you delete here goes there. Because these people don't care if you offend anybody. But the joke is that that group is not half as interesting as this one, because everybody gets so fucking pissed off here, and you get these fucking discussions which give me so much fodder to make videos about, you know? You have no fucking idea what you're talking about. And then you get this one. Post removed. Did you even read the rules? You know, I don't need to read the rules to know. You know, I post stuff regularly that I know is going to get deleted. You know, and I do it anyway, exactly because the rules... And it's not even about the rules, because it's both politically correct and politically incorrect stuff that gets removed regularly. And to give you an example, right? I posted a meme here, which was meant to piss people off. Besides the one about the Bernie Bros, obviously. Probably gotta go to my page in order to find that. So let's just take a foray here. I really don't care how much time I spend on this. So if this video is gonna be 2 hours, fuck it, I don't care. I should be in bed right now, but it's already too late for me. So look at this. Alright, I made this meme. Here. I found this so fucking perfect, right? Support Bernie Sanders, troll his following. And all I did, other than the text, obviously, was add a fucking giant beard on this guy. And I had to just erase those eyebrows because he was looking more like scared, and now he's looking more like kind of determined, you know, or kind of like, holy shit, I have such an opportunity in my hands, you know. And I posted it on Bernie Sanders Dank Meme Stash. Here. It's got 12 likes. Nothing much. Apparently nobody got pissed off about it, but, you know, in its defense, you know, it's not an offensive meme necessarily, because both Bernie Bros and anti-Bernie Bros can associate with it. I'm just stating a fact here. So it's not a controversial meme, but it's still a fucking hilarious one. But, you know, so you even have ways to post shit that you, Zach Moore, are not going to like, or sorry, Sage whoever, aren't going to like, or that don't conform to the rules, you know, or that aren't even Bernie Sanders, you know, or that aren't even pro Bernie Sanders, let's keep it at that aren't even gonna get deleted, because there's not enough of a shitstorm of a discussion going on there to warrant it. It kind of just passes under the radar, you know. And the other one I made about Bernie Bros also, you know, it got about 30 likes now, but nobody cared about it. I mean, I had a minor discussion with someone about it, which I should get to as well at some point, because there is an article about how Bernie Sanders didn't support the Bernie Bros, but or didn't condone them, you know. But he didn't mention the word Bernie Bros. He just mentioned the fact that, or fact, you know. He just mentioned that, you know, he heard about people who are acting in his following who are acting sexist towards Clinton followers or whatever. But you know, for all he knows, it might just be fucking, you know, it might just be a rumor, you know. He's just saying, in case it happens, I don't condone it. Alright, whatever. Then we got another guy, another shitstorm. Safe spaces, laugh my ass off. This is how pussified we are now as a country. Hector, words do hurt. Sure they do, buddy. Hurt what? My grades? Hated English class. Do you need a hug, Hector? There you get this guy again. Why would he need a hug? He just said that words didn't hurt him. Except maybe for his English class, probably because he can't really spell or something. He isn't really good at... Maybe he's dyslexic or something, you know? I need America to be great again. Mods! Holy shit, this guy. Holy shit, you... What kind of a cock are you, man? Lol, but no, I'm not that emotional that I need a hug because someone told me something I don't agree with. Sticks and stones, man. Can we get some Bernie love train going here and less flaming herpes? That'd be great. No, if you don't like it, you can just get out. Go to some other comment where you can be in your safe space. But Hector, what about the children? Where will they go without safe spaces? To the parents. Some kids don't have parents. I can't tell if this guy is being sarcastic or not, or ironic or not. You know what? That's a good idea. Students that don't feel safe on campus should just go back to kindergarten, lol. Then any guardian, if they don't have a... so that's again in reply to his, you know, comment about orphaned kids. Then any guardian, if they don't have that either, then you fucked regardless, and I doubt growing up like that, words will hurt. Will you be their safe space? No, because they aren't my kids. I heard that the bird is the word. Don't you know about the bird? Well, everybody knows that the bird is the word. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I don't know what. I think he's just being ironic. I hope so, at least. Seriously. Because I do think he's... I mean, what about the children? I mean, he's being ironic. There's hardly any other possibility. Okay. Undanking our social justice memes is kinda like farting in the movie theater. Holy shit, dude. Whoa, you just blew my mind. You know, what you're doing is more like... yeah, you know, I'll tell you one thing, you know. This meme we just saw is dank. And what you are doing is undanking it. So, in your words, you're farting in the fucking movie theater here. You know, and not only that, you're more... whatever. You're acting more like those niggers screaming at the movie screen, even. But, you know... if you believe it's for people who don't like being called out, it's not for women and people in the LGBT community. Alright, he posted this video here, I watched it, I wasn't really impressed, to be completely honest. Although, this was the first video I actually heard Sanders talk to some extent. And this was the first video where I actually caught his accent, which is so fucking hilarious. Dude, this guy is such a fucking Jew, it's amazing. And I'm not, you know, it's not anything against him, it's actually pretty funny. But, you know, it also means that he knows what he's talking about, but it also explains why he's, you know, taking the positions he's taking. Well, whatever. Why treat them any different, especially if we are equals? Have you been raped? Have you? Is my question. But I should maybe have added his name, because it's more like as if I'm adding to his question, but that's my bad. Why protect women from all these drunk college kids? Uh, it's not like women don't get drunk themselves. No, but I've been beaten, ridiculed, and robbed a lot when I was a kid. Used to be made fun of a lot for being fat and having big ears as a kid. And according to most SJWs, those are equally traumatizing and hurtful. You just learn to deal with it and sack up and stand up for yourself. I don't need a safe space every time a black person walks by me just because of my past experience. They're just words. It's not just words when they put a gun in your face. Because that happens every day. There is a safe space here, and it's for students who don't want to walk at night and want to call an Uber Sab or taxi to pick them up and drop them off somewhere. It's pretty bad here in the southern Illinois. We had 2 shootings last month and people getting held up a lot. I will tell you one thing. I once read an article in the free newspaper in the Metro here in Holland, which actually, wherein the Prime Minister at the time spoke out against people not seeking help after witnessing a traumatizing event like a robbery at a store or something. And I showed it to a friend of mine and explained to him how pissed off I was about it. And that was before I even knew anything about SJWs and the whole shitstorm, which I should find a different word for that, going on lately on the internet on the subject, But just the impression that you need to pussify people, like people can't deal with their own problems or their own traumas. So it needs to be made mandatory, to go seek help after you've been robbed. Even if someone puts a gun to your face, you need you need to learn that not everything in life is going to go your way. At some point you're gonna have to learn to step up, to stand up for whatever you believe or whatever, it depends on the situation. Or if there's a robbery, to either just remain calm or to just, find a way to help in the situation, to disarm the guy or whatever, or call the police or press the alarm or whatever, and even if you get traumatized, that doesn't give you the excuse to avoid your problems. But that's just me just saying. Nobody can, how do you say? Nobody can force you to deal with your problems. But for that matter, nobody can force you to not deal with them either. Nobody can help you with them either. If you're not gonna do it, nobody will. Because that's just the way the world works. I'm sorry, your problems are your own. The government or your university has no part in them whatsoever. Unless it's really a teacher or something who harassed you, in which you have every right to get pissed off about it and to speak out about it. Or to even sue him if you have the means. And that kind of thing. You should call the police if that's the case. But that doesn't mean you should segregate yourself. Whatever. Bernie would disagree. Why knock on safe spaces? They do absolutely no harm but have potential to do plenty good. No, they don't. At least if you interpret them in the way we did earlier. You wouldn't believe the truth. When I showed up at my college's safe space in fedora and trench coat, screaming about social justice warriors and making 9/11 jokes, they kicked me out. Just 'cause I'm white. Therefore, safe spaces are racist and bad. Some people are just too weak to handle the katana edge of a true patrician's wit. Or safe means safe from criticism of thought. It isn't simply a shelter from harassment. Yeah, exactly. Although I'm not sure if you're helping the situation, but I'm pretty sure you're on the right side. Nope, undank as fuck. Whatever, bitch. It's for women who who are feared of being raped, of who have already been. Dude, learn to fucking spell first. Also, for people who deal with physical abuse of their race, for their race, sorry, that was my bad, or sexual orientation. Also, mental health is important. I'm pretty sure Bernie likes the idea of safe spaces. Sure, he does, sure. Because it's not like, he grew up with, probably his parents were Holocaust survivors or something, or at least, they fled it, He it's not like he grew up like with a deep understanding of what segregation means, Wow, that herring is really red. Hey guys, look at this. I'm here to distract you. Yeah, sure. I mean, this is Sargon's law in action again and again and again. I'm here to that's exactly what you're doing. You're distracting us. And you're not even really distracting us. You're just distracting the people who agree with you, and who are going to press the like button or reply to your fucking clickbait, because that's all it is. You're just craving for attention, aren't you? And again with the video, he posted it twice now. Why bother? Anyway, Bernie on point. I mean, there is a difference between psychological safe spaces, which are good and needed, and safe spaces because feelings. I guess. I mean, again, I don't see the difference. What is the difference between psychological... I mean, I don't know. Not dank at all. Bernie cares for oppressed groups and mental health. Yes, he does care. Yes, I care as well, but it's still dank, and safe spaces, at least the word, is still redundant. As I said, you can go cry in the toilet if you want, or you can, you can just stay home if you're so afraid, A safe space can be the difference between a severely depressed, lonely person committing suicide and not. Mental health issues are real, and if someone needs a place where people won't call them bitch for being sad or afraid. Who would call someone bitch for being sad or afraid? I would call someone bitch because they're a bitch. Because they're acting like an asshole, but they happen to be female. Even though, asshole is an ungendered word, so I might as well use it on a woman. Maybe that's less triggering, isn't it? That makes us more equal if I call a woman an asshole. Do you prefer that? No, I don't mind. I don't care. It's about the same for me. It's just one syllable more. That doesn't make them weak. It makes them different. How does it not make them weak? It makes them different than those who don't feel you need it. Those of you. Be excellent to each other, my dudes. It's not like I disagree with the last part of your statement, but the rest is just bullshit. I mean, I'm all for being excellent, But in order to be excellent, you need to learn to stand up for what you believe. If you're gonna hide every time someone calls you a bitch, you're not gonna progress as an individual, are you? You only grow outside of your comfort zones. Seriously. You understand what's going on. Wrong. Okay, well, alright, case closed, I guess. Holy shit. Well, that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed, folks. I really did enjoy this discussion, and I really like how I fucking blew this guy out of the water. So, again, hope you enjoyed. That's it for today. I'm going to bed because I have to wake up early tomorrow. So, I'll see you later, folks. Ta-ta.